My name is Jason J. Rock Houston. Our special guest today is DMOLLS singer and guitarist Desi Rexx. Now, Desi, that's a good place to start off. Um, the band now is called DMOLLS 777. You want to talk a little bit about that?
I mean, why are we called DMOLLS 777 these days?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, there's trouble. There's
Legal issue.
conflict with permission,
Okay, okay.
name ownership. And I thought, you know what? First of all, it looks really cool. I'll send you a T-shirt, okay?
Sure, sure. Yeah.
Okay. It looks great. It's the sevens are legs now.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
Yeah,
legs.
yeah.
It's awesome, and it gets kind of a double recognition because people know the tune.
Yeah, sure, sure. And,
Yeah.
and you know, I think, let's be honest, I think when people think of DMOLLS, you are the face and the voice. So there's that to be said. Now, talk about your decision to kind of resurrect the band, if you will.
You mean Rexurrect it?
Yeah, yeah. You know, put it back together. Yeah, resurrect.
REXX, Rexurrect, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I've been doing it all these years.
Okay.
We've been doing it. Just I lived in Chicago for a while, again after Hollywood, and would do just occasional shows. My buddy Chip's Enough. We were in bands together as kids.
Okay.
He said he called me out. I probably didn't do anything for about 2 years, and then he was getting married again, and he said, "You want to come play at the wedding?" And I said, "Yeah, sure." So we came there. My wife and I went there, and it was a fun time. And they said, "And now Desi Rexx, everybody." Oh, it's like, oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
nice. Yeah. And so I go up, and they had all the equipment set up and everything. And I put the guitar on, and I hadn't had a guitar on, and I'm going to say 2 years.
Oh, wow.
And they start the song, and it was Donnie V singing, and Chip was playing, and some drummer guy, and I'm on there, and I'm supposed to be the lead guitar player in this little setting,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Which I can do.
Of course.
And so he starts banging out the song, and I can follow the chords easily enough. And all of a sudden, he hit a Des, and I look at the guitar, and I go, "Where are those notes?" I know I used to know them, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, what am I going to do?" So I just popped a harmonic and had a whammy bar, and went,
Wow, wow.
and all of a sudden I went, "I know this one," and it all came back, and I started playing. But I mean, for a second, I've never had stage fright in my life, and I wasn't really afraid. I was like, I don't know how to play anymore.
Talk about being able to improvise. Wow, that's totally rock and roll. And I'm just meeting you for the first time, and already I can tell you got such a great sense of humor, great spirit.
Thank you. So anyway, the point to answer your question is that Chip has been my bud for a long time, and following that little incident, he said, "Why are you not doing this anymore?"
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
I was like, "Yeah, I just needed a little break, I guess." He goes, "Yeah, do it again. We'll do shows together." So we've done quite a few shows with Enough's Enough over the years. And then other people started coming out of the woodwork. Just a couple of years ago, we did one with Skid Row, a big one. I'm in Salt Lake City now.
Oh, wow, wow.
Yeah. And so we did a big one with Skid Row. Anyway, things have been popping again. And out of the blue, because it was kind of at that level,
Yeah.
And I got different guys I'm doing things with and all that. When I moved out here, I had done a kind of a solo record. It's called Desi Rexx DMOLLS D-Sides.
Okay.
Not B-sides, but D-sides.
I'll check that out. I like that. Yeah.
And it was on a label called F&A Records. And so the guy Steve calls me up and he says, I was traveling, because we're trying to promote the record. He said, "I was traveling through Salt Lake the other day." He says, "And I bumped into a real rock and roll looking guy, so I went up and introduced myself." This was the record.
Yeah.
And he had set us up. We played Rocklahoma, and we broke the attendance record. It was a Sunday. It was a Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
We had been on mothballs for years, and they had us do Rocklahoma, and it was a Sunday, and it was in the biggest. It wasn't on the main stage, but it was in the biggest of the tents, and they had tents all over the place.
Wow.
130 degrees. Cancel all alarms. 130 degrees on stage. It was brutal. And all the young kids on the different stages are dropping like flies, barfing, puking, and we're just killing it. Down in waters like it was crazy.
Wow.
Sweating like bullets, makeup running, hair is a mess and all that. But afterward, all the girls, sign here, and they give me the magic markers. It was really fun again. So this guy, Steve, calls up and he says, "I ran into a rock and roll looking guy in Salt Lake City Airport, and he knows you. and wanted to give a call and do some shows or something. And I said, well, who is it? He says, it's Johnny Lightfoot from Air Supply.
Oh, wow.
Well, it's a big thing.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I went, Air Supply and DMOLLS? That's kind of like Simon and Garfunkel and AC/DC or something, right? You know,
Yeah,
what?
maybe. Okay.
So he
Yeah.
says, well, he says, give him a call, you know, okay. So like, I don't know, maybe 6 weeks, 2 months go by. And he calls me up. He said, did you call him? I said, no, I didn't call him. And he said, shh, I'm going to throw this in the next room. I'll be right back.
Sure, go ahead. Yeah.
I hate cell phones.
Yeah, yeah.
I long for the days of Dixie cups and string, except I would
There
lose
you
my
go. There you
connection
go.
around the corner.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you mind if I drink a
Oh,
squirt?
go ahead. Go ahead. Make yourself at home.
Okay. So I am at home.
Yeah, yeah. Good. Yeah, yeah.
So anyways, so he says, would you mind if I give him your number? No problem. So he gives it to Johnny. And I have a tendency to let certain things slide, like where did a bunch of years go, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And of course, Johnny calls me the next night.
Wow.
Desi, you know, how you doing, blah, blah, blah. I said, oh, fine. I said, we finally got it. We talked about our kids and had,
Yeah.
I mean, like I could tell he was a simpatico spirit. So we finally get down to it. In fact, he's a huge Kiss fan. You should see his collection of stuff.
Oh, wow.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Did you know I auditioned for Kiss?
No, I'd love to hear that story.
Well, ask me that in a minute. I'll tell you.
Okay.
So anyways, so I said that when we finally got down to talking about business about 25 minutes later, I'm a bit verbose at times. He says, I said, I don't get the Air Supply thing. He goes, Air Supply? He goes, no, he's been with them for like 15 years. He goes,
Oh, yeah.
no, that's my bread and butter. He says, I'm a glam rocker.
Oh, wow.
Said, and we're just on the phone here.
Yeah.
He goes, yeah. He goes, in fact, I was a huge DMOLLS fan when I was a kid. He said, we used to play All I Want in my band, you know? And I said, no kidding. Yeah. So he said, I would just love to be your bass player.
Wow.
I said, but you're busy with Air Supply. He goes, not all the time. And a couple of years later, he let it go, and now we're full-time doing this.
Hey, how big of a fan is that? I mean,
I tell you what, it was really touching.
Yeah.
It was really, yeah. And so now I had done a record just before I left Chicago and recorded 10 songs and was ready to do something with it. And that, incidentally, was SS Priest 2, Scotty. So that's a long story, but he was the original guitar player in DMOLLS. Then he left because he had a band called Diamond Rexx.
Okay.
And one time when he was kind of drunk one night, he says to me, tell me the truth, Desi. Did you take the name Rex because of Diamond Rexx? I said, here's the truth, Scotty. No. Rex means king, and I'm the next king of rock and roll.
Yeah, there you go.
Rex. I desire to be king. So he says, okay. So he had made this record with Diamond Rexx, and his manager had said, if you leave and go to Hollywood with DMOLLS, which I understand, I'm wiping all your tracks off. In 5 years of being on Diamond Rexx, your first album, you're not going to be on it. So he said, Desi, I'm so sorry. I got to quit the band. We had lined up one show, our very first show in Chicago at a place at that time it was called the Limelight.
Okay, yeah.
And when we played that show without Scotty, with his replacement, Sean Freehill, SS2,
Yeah.
Sean had come in for a rehearsal. Lizzie knew him. He pulled him in. And Lizzie called me up. He says, how you feel? And this was, Scotty left 3 days before the show and 5 days before we were going to go to Hollywood. I had already bought a billboard in Hollywood. DMOLLS are coming. The future is now, all this stuff.
Wow.
It was really a heartbreaker, you know? And so he says, I got something to show you at our rehearsal studio. Can you?
Yeah.
Now we had rehearsed 30 hours a week, not 40, but 30 hours a week for a year.
Wow.
Before this first show. We were so ready for it and so ready. I just wanted one show under the belt, then let's go to Hollywood. And to fast forward, when we went to Hollywood, 3 weeks later, we had a 7-record deal with Atlantic Records. That's a different story, but 3 weeks. So things happened really fast.
Yeah.
So we're going to do this show. The only show I could get for us was for $200 at a place called the Limelight. with a lingerie runway show of girls opening
Wow.
up to us.
Yeah.
We looked better in our nets and fishnets and teddies and all that than they did. I got to tell
Wow.
you,
Wow.
they were cute girls, but the band looked really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, so we rent a limo, $40 an hour in those days, nice caddy, and we get to the telephones are about this big in those limos in those days, and we call ahead to our road manager, a guy named Doc Williamson, and said, "Put on the intro tape. We're ready to hit stage."
Yeah.
We were supposed to go on at 11. So he says, "You can't come in." What? The owner says he's never seen such a turnout. You got to go around, come back in an hour. So at $40 an hour, which was a lot of money in the 80s,
Yeah.
we go around, we come back. He says, "You got to stay away another hour." They're
Okay.
drinking. He doesn't want anybody to come in and blow the thing. We finally hit stage at 1:30 in the morning
Wow.
for an 11 o'clock show. We broke the attendance record on a Tuesday night that Motley Crue had set on the Halloween before.
Wow.
And it was all because we walked into a restaurant 2 days before it, the first night that Sean was in the band. Lizzie has him come to the rehearsal studio, and Sean walks in and he's got hair this tall, and he's the best looking human being you've ever seen. What a face. And can he play the guitar? That's him playing on the first record.
Oh, wow.
Scotty did the videos because Sean was a young kid at the time. Anyway, he plays, I said, "Okay, look, you look good." He says, "Let me just tell you 3 things before we do this audition, Des."
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
said, "Sure." He says, "I know all the songs. I know you printed up $5,000 worth of posters, and I don't mind being called SS Priest." And by the way, he looked an awful lot like Scotty. He
Wow.
said, "And I can leave on Thursday and go to Hollywood with you. Now, is there anything you want to ask me?" I said, "Yeah, that's the amp. I want to see if you can play these songs."
Okay.
So, and he killed it. He was
Wow.
freaking great. Lizzie had thought there might be trouble with Scotty, and he had taught this kid the songs,
Yeah.
and he came and he played the whole set, and he was ready to go.
Wow.
And he joined this band, and 3 weeks and 2 days later, he was an 18-year-old kid with a 7-record Atlantic record deal.
Pretty impressive. Wow.
It was really impressive, but he was too young for it. Hollywood chewed him up. He got in with the wrong girls and
Yeah.
wrong stuff and kind of ate him up. So we made this brilliant record. And when we, in fact, listen to that first record sometime, he smashed his thumb in the great big soundproof glass door in the studio before he recorded the first note.
Oh, wow.
And with a bundled up thumb like this, he made that killing record. That's something, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So from time to time, Sean will come and play with me.
Yeah.
And we did one, I don't know, 10 years ago at the Key Club with a band at that time called Metal School. They're now Steel Panther.
Yeah.
Right. And so when we were walking in, it was just him and me. And as we're walking in, we were at his place. He comes down the stairs, he trips, he's got these huge heels on, great clothes. He goes, "What should I wear? This or this or this or this?" After the show, we found out that all the clothes that he got to choose from for the show, this was our 20-year reunion, he and I, were non-refundable. And he spent $4,000 on his card getting all these different clothes to look right for that show.
Wow. Rock and roll.
So when we show up, and the guys in Metal School, had made a big deal of it. So he said, "I would love to see a reunion of DMOLLS on my stage," says Mark the singer. Okay. So as we're walking in the club, and it was really where Gazzari's had been. That's where the Key Club was.
Yeah.
The line outside was insane. There was 150 people outside trying to get in. As we walked by, "Desi, SS, oh my gosh. Oh, you guys, listen, I loved you guys for years." And we're like, "We got to go in and do the shit." "Hey, bro, thanks. No, it's so." We go in there. That was a 900-seat club. 1,100 people were inside paid that night.
Wow.
So people didn't forget us. And it
Now,
was
let me ask you, Desi, what was that like? I mean, you must have been
insane.
amazed, at the crowd.
Charge. It feels so good that people remember, and they're singing along with the songs, and I'm holding out the mic, and I got my shoes on.
Yeah.
I mean, it was great. So now fast forward a little bit, and I moved to Salt Lake, and the thing with Johnny Lightfoot happens, and I had made a 10-song record, and I said to Johnny, "Listen, would you like to play on that record?" because nowadays you can take it and subtract it digital. It's all easy.
Sure, sure.
And Johnny's a brilliant engineer. Oh my gosh. And he co-produced this whole new record with me. So Johnny turns it on. He's got his bass ready to go. And he listens to a song once and then replaces the bass parts to it in one take.
Wow.
And he did that on 9 of the 10 songs.
Wow.
9 of the 10.
So let's talk about the new album. When is that set to be released?
Oh, well, I want it to be like tonight. I want to play it for you right now.
Yeah.
But about maybe a year ago, we were ready to put it out on our own label.
Yeah.
You know, and we ended up re-recording some of them and got these great. Oh my gosh! So the guy we have, the lead guitar player we have now, Mick James, is an LA guy, a Hollywood guy. He turned down the job in Warrant. He and Eric were buddies growing up.
Wow.
And when they were putting Warrant together, and Warrant and DMOLLS toured together, they called him and said, "You want the job?" And he said, "Nah, it's not right for me." Right. And then they got Joey, and Joey's a brilliant player.
Yeah.
Janie and I were big pals. Oh my gosh, I miss Janie. Anyway, so Mick James never really got another opportunity after that.
Wow.
So out of the blue, we called around. We found a great drummer, a local guy here. His name is Van Christensen, Vandolph the Great. He's unbelievable. I mean, anything anybody ever could play, this guy can play. And being a guy that's so good at copying everybody,
Yeah.
a lot of times they don't have their own style, but he totally does. And he's taken all the old DMOLLS tunes and taken them to a new level. When we play those things live, it's like double turbo, supercharged. It's unbelievable with him.
Yeah.
And Johnny's great, and they go way back. So Johnny started calling around, and he said, "Who do you think we should get for lead guitar?" I said, "Well, Brian Forsyth from Kix is my buddy.
Wow.
And we like each other and all that. And Kix doesn't tour all the time.
Yeah.
What if we had him when Kix doesn't tour?" And Johnny said, "Yeah, we could do a few shows, but here's the thing. They tour at the time of year when it's good to tour.
Yeah.
And we need to be out there then too." So he's not the guy. But we called him. And so that song that you have, Blue, that single,
Yeah.
that's Brian Forsyth playing slide guitar on that one.
Wow.
And drumming on that track, we called around a little bit and just thought it would be fun to have a friend come in and sit in on a couple of the tracks.
Yeah.
We haven't picked Blue as the single yet.
Oh,
That's Blas Elias from Slaughter and now Trans-Siberian Orchestra.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
So that's the 4 that played on that. I got all the loud guitars and I'm singing, and Johnny's bassing and singing some backgrounds and like that. And I think Blas might have sung some of the backgrounds on this track. I know he did on another song called Turn It Up Louder.
Yeah.
But anyway, so about a year ago, we're ready to put this thing out finally. We took our sweet time making it. It took a couple, 3 years to make it. And now we're ready to release it. And out of the blue, I get a phone call from Max. Now that's the best guitar player. No, guitar luthier, guitar maker on the planet. Max Guitars. Slash's Les Paul, Max made. Slash all those years thought it was an original 59 Les Paul.
Wow.
Max made that guitar.
Wow.
Max was my best man. He's made brilliant stuff for me. That really killer guitar that I have in the 777 video, Max made that. He's brilliant. So he calls me out of the blue. He says, "Call Howie Huberman right now." Howie is Poison's old manager.
Oh.
I call Howie. "Howie, it's Desi. What's up?" He says, "Hey, there's a guy named Stevie D. Do you know who that is?" I said, "No." He said, "He's a guitar player in Buck Cherry. He wants to talk to you.
Okay, yeah.
He wants to talk to you."
Yeah.
Okay. So I call up out of the blue, "Stevie D?" "Yeah." I go, he goes, "This is Desi Rexx."
Wow.
Yeah. He goes,
The legend.
"Oh my gosh, I've been a fan forever. Oh my gosh, you're the man, dude. He goes, "Hashtag effing legend." And he starts going off on me. And I'm going, gosh, I wish I knew your stuff. I know some Buck Cherry tunes a little bit, and he says, That's okay. I'm so glad to talk to you. He says, "Listen, what are you doing?" He says, "We got to get you up and going again." And I said, "Well, actually, I got a record ready to go. And, Johnny Lightfoot and the whole backstory to it." And he goes, "Okay." He goes, "Awesome." He goes, "Listen, you need a manager." I said, okay. He said, let me look around for you. And by the way, he said, I know the guy that books the whiskey. He's still a huge fan. Call him and do a show at the whiskey. And I went, okay. So we
Okay.
did that just this last July, and it was a big deal, and they paid us a ton of money. And we would have done it for a little less at the time. Now we'll do it for more next
There
time.
you go. There you go.
Yeah. But anyway, it worked out great. And so then in that interim between when he hooked us up with the booking agent for the whiskey and when we actually kind of did it, he said, call this guy JJ Garcia. Now you might have heard that. He says, that's your guy. That's your new manager. He goes, I know him. He's trustworthy. He knows the ropes these days. He's in with Hits magazine. That's your guy. I said, well, he says, trust me, Des, trust me. He says, hold on. And he puts a three-way call in. JJ, hey, JJ's got this big voice like this, you know. Hey, does he really? And he's a super cool guy. I said, Stevie, thanks a million. He goes, that's okay, brother. Listen. And then he'd call me from the road. And so Stevie played on one of our tracks on the new record as well. It was already finished. And I thought, we got to have him play on it. He made so many nice things happen.
Wow.
So we sent out a tune, and that one is called Free Your Mind. Free Your Mind. So Stevie played on that one, and he did a brilliant job. It came back on fire, like this is a killer record with a lot of cool guests, you know, playing on it. But the core band is in there doing it, and we're touring again. So JJ is now we're starting these, you know, the interview, all that. And JJ calls up like maybe 6 weeks ago, and he said, I got it. Well, what do you got? He says, well, you know how you told me you're the first glam guy ever? I said, wait, David Johansen and the New York Dolls. But in Hollywood. And that's true. My old band, St. Valentine, was myself and a guy named Lizzie Gray, who'd been in a band called London with Nikki Sixx.
Public Enemy #1 co-writer.
Yeah. So Lizzie Gray and I put together St. Valentine, and it's a long story, and I'm not going to take you through it now. But we were the absolute first glam rock band. I got Johnny Thunder's old dress. I used to hit stage in that, or dressed up like a nurse or whatever. We did a show with Blackie Lawless and Wasp. And Blackie had this show set up where it was like everybody had to give a pint of blood in order to get in.
Oh, cool.
Now, it's really a good idea because you're kind of weak and woozy after you do that. And you know, you're going to be more affected by the music and more. So I come out in a nurse's outfit with this because they all gave blood and totally stole the show. Wow. And like Blackie was not a happy guy about it. We'll leave it at that. So it's been really fun. But anyway, that band was called St. Valentine. And so JJ said, remember St. Valentine? I said, yeah, I know St. Valentine. He says, get this. We'll release Blue on St. Valentine's Day.
Wow. Cool. And 69 cents.
So that's what caused this all to happen. So I got to tip the hat to JJ Garcia for his plan. I got to tip the hat to Stevie D for hooking us up with JJ. And of course to Johnny, who is now my absolute soulmate after years now of making this record and getting ready. And we've done, as I said, quite a few shows together now, but we're getting ready to really hit it. JJ's lining stuff up now. He's in with promoters, and we expect a lot of stuff to happen.
You know, Desi, I think we've just really scratched the surface here. And as we're talking, I just had this bright idea. I want you to think about this. I would like to maybe have you back like once a month, you know, talking about a combination of telling your great stories from the past leading up to the album's release. So think about that. And it's something you'd be interested, because I really think we've just scratched the surface. I mean, I want to hear a story about auditioning for Kiss. I want to also eventually hear about getting the chance to tour with David Lee Roth, you know, all that.
How about when I turned down Billy Squier on the Don't Say No tour?
Again. I mean, so I don't know what you think about that, but I think that'd be a fun idea. Once a month, kind of giving us an update.
Let's do it. That'd be fun.
Because I'm all up for this. So I will contact Jody and say, you know, let's make this a once a month thing. And I think it'll be like a fun little series for people to tune in.
It would be great. Thank you so much. Give me a big high five.
All right. Yeah.
Okay,
and again, I'm definitely going to have you back because, you know, it's so fun. I'm just meeting you for the first time, and I can feel your energy.
I was going to just say the same thing about you. You're a very cool guy, very positive, very no, not dropping F-bombs and all that. All that stuff is way, way, way behind Desi now.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
that's cool, man. Yeah, just good guy to good guy. I'd love to.
Okay, well, definitely, because again, I think we've just scratched the surface, and on the Zoom thing here, you get cut off like after 35 minutes or so. So I don't want to cut you off in the
Are
middle
we
of a
cut
great
off
story.
now? We're gone. Are
Oh,
we gone now?
oh well, we got about 5 more minutes, so I was just going to ask you that because I think it'd be a great idea.
Okay, sounds good. Do you have any more questions for tonight? I'll be happy to throw one your way.
Well, so is there going to be a video for Blue, or are you guys working on that?
I don't know what they've got in mind. I kind of take care of the things that I take care of and let the other people take care
Yeah,
of their thing. It's smarter to delegate like that. I'd love to do one.
yeah. Last question. I was curious. When you first started playing, were you always a singer, or did you start out as a guitarist and kind of start writing your own songs?
That's a great question. So I started taking guitar lessons when I was 7,
Uh,
and by the time I was 9, I was the lead singer, guitar player in a 2-person band like White Stripes. I had a drummer and myself, and we used to do shows.
wow,
We would
wow.
do little birthday parties and at an ice skating rink. And I mean, I've been playing in front of audiences since I was 9.
Oh, wow, wow. That's great. So yeah, we'll hear more about Desi. I would keep you longer, but like I said, let's make this a one a month, at least for now, once a month thing to update
Let's
people,
do it.
and
Let's do
right up
it.
until the album. So take care, my friend. I will definitely be in touch. I'll email your publicist and tell her what we talked about. Okay.
That sounds great. Thanks so much, man.
Anytime.
Bye.
Take care, Des. Thank you.
Okay.